Well, Colby Duckington is back at it again. You know, for someone who's talked so much shit about John Jones, he really has a lot in common with the man. The ducking of Ian Garry, from what I've picked up in this submission radio interview, which he did yesterday. I was going to make a video on it yesterday, but I already did my other video building the worst possible UFC fighter. But this interview has come out and I've watched the whole thing. It's about 27 minutes and it's just a whole lot of yapping, let's be honest. But as you can see from the title, the Ian Garry ship has sailed, according to Colby Covington. You know, the ship that docked for about 2 weeks that he made a whole big deal about on social media. Yeah, that ship's gone. Now he wants to fight Belal or Charles Oliveira. So yeah, we're going to get into all of that. I'm going to play a bunch of clips from this interview as well as previous interviews from him, a couple other ones that he's done recently, and then a couple other ones that he did just after the Leon fight when he actually was calling out Ian Garry or Wonderboy. So yeah, we're going to get into that and just talk about why Colby is being a duck and he's quacking away. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with this clip of him talking about the injury and when he wants to come back.
Career that I go out there and show the world what I'm capable of when I'm 100%. But for them to see me at less than 100% like they did the last fight, it's unacceptable. And the fans deserve better than that. And I want to give them better than that. I want to give the UFC better than that. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I think this fall we're going to come back and we're going to put on the biggest and best show and remind everybody why we are Donald Trump's favorite fighter.
I don't know why he's saying we are Donald Trump's favorite fighter. I don't know what he's doing there. It's multiple Colby Covingtons. But from what I've heard, he's basically just saying we got to come back soonish, maybe in the fall, maybe like around July, August, I assume is when that means, because I live in Australia, not America. But yeah, he's saying he wants to come back at the right time from the injury and that he wants to remind everyone and he doesn't want to perform like he did last time, because last time he performed like a bitch. But let's move on to another clip.
You had some stipulations that he had to meet. Otherwise, there wasn't going to happen. Break it down for us. What exactly ended up happening? Did he meet any of your criteria? What exactly ended up happening with that?
So that's just them talking about the stipulations that Colby said, basically reasons why he doesn't want to fight Ian Garry, because he's trying to make him do something that he knows he's not going to do, and so therefore he can say, oh, you didn't accept the stipulations, we're not fighting. But let's hear Colby's response.
I do so much. All I gave is 3 little stipulations, boy, to Ian. Can you imagine? This kid's a spoiled little fucking entitled brat, and he's trying to act like he calls a shot as an absolute nobody who's never headlined a pay-per-view main event like myself. I've actually headlined pay-per-view main events without even a title on the line. So I've done it 4 titles without a title, this and that. I've only been fighting pay-per-view main events the last 6-7 years of my career. So this little spoiled entitled brat is coming out saying that he's calling the shots. First off, there was never a contract. If there was a contract, show me the contract, kid. Where's the contract? If you're saying these words, you come out and show it to the fan. If there never was a contract. So the thing is when the UFC calls Colby Chaos Covington, Colby Covington Incorporated, Colby, is able to choose and do what he wants because I've earned my way in this company and I've done good business for this company where I'm allowed to call the shots. So this little kid doesn't call the shots. So I gave him 3 little stipulations. That's all he had to do. Guys, could you imagine? All I told him was turn on the comments. Like, how hard is it to flick a little button up or down? Like, that's not that hard. It's so easy. And then to have his wife, shoot a video, why they deserve this fight. And how hard can that be? She's out here, going on 5-minute rants to other fighters that they're never going to fight and trying to quote Shakespeare like she's smart or something. So, everybody knows that, out of that little gimmick relationship that's going on, that little gimmick sideshow, circus show that's going on, she's the real star of the family. So she wants to be a star. Come out here and say and why you deserve to fight a superstar on myself. So he couldn't do these simple little stipulations, guys.
Bro, this fucker sounds like guys, listen, guys, I think he wants to fight me, guys. Like, he's sounding like Cejudo here. And also, why is he referring to himself in the third person? Yeah, they're gonna call up Colby Covington Incorporated, and Colby Covington is gonna do the biggest and best business. Like, what are you talking about? But also, yeah, we know he's not gonna do the fucking stipulations. That's retarded. This isn't boxing. You're not fucking independent contractors. The UFC has you. They decide who you fight and like the terms of it. You don't get to be like, oh, do these little stipulations. It's not like when fucking Jake Paul said that Tyron Woodley had to get a tattoo or some shit if he wanted to have a rematch. Like, it's not like that. You don't do any bullshit on the side. They give you a fucking contract and you sign it. And Colby knows that, but he's just doing this shit and acting like to put it, because all these retards that just buy it immediately and go, he stipulations, Ian Garry doesn't want to fight because he didn't do the stipulation. Like, no, he's obviously not going to do the stipulations. Colby's just doing that as a reason to basically say, hey, look, this guy didn't accept the fight, otherwise he would have done this, even though Ian Garry's obviously not going to do what you fucking said. But yeah, okay, cool. Your headlines, pay-per-views, apart from the Masvidal fight, every single one of those you were challenging for the belt, so that's whatever. And then the Masvidal one, I wouldn't have said he's the A side, but I'd say Masvidal was probably the more well-known fighter, maybe just because of the BMF belt, the Masvidal, so the Askren knockout, all that. But yeah, cool. You headlines, pay-per-views. And that's also because you got there, but you also have lost 3 undisputed title fights in a row. We're going to get to more in a bit, but I really don't know where this switch up came from and why you're not just actually pursuing, even if they haven't offered you the fight yet, why are you not still pursuing a fight with Ian Garry and instead calling out Belal and Oliveira, which we'll get into soon. But let's move on to another clip.
I understand, like, there's a massive disparity at the moment, rankings-wise.
Literally 3 spots apart.
I'm looking at it and I'm wondering, like, do you think there's ever a situation where Ian sort of works his way up and he's, maybe like a title contender or champion or whatever the case may be, and he's worked his way up to a position where you're like, all right, now that's a fight that, I would like to do regardless of any stipulations? Or do you think this is a matter of, like, the ship has sailed and we're just never going to see you and Ian fight?
So again, they're just asking, will you, is there going to be a point where you want to fight him down the line or whatever? Because literally 2 weeks ago he's calling him out. Now apparently he doesn't want to fight him anymore, but let's hear what Colby has to say.
The thing is, I gave him that great freaking deal early on, guys. Just 3 simple stipulations. So I gave him this great deal. The next time it comes back around, that deal's not going to be so sweet. He's going to have to learn the basic principle of life. You got to learn things the hard way. So, I don't know. I don't know if that shit will come back around, I've said what I needed to say about him. I've said the truth and nothing but the truth and only facts about him and his relationship and his little circus gimmick that he's got going on. So, maybe he does. I don't know. But he hasn't done it yet. He's coming off a split decision against the busboy. The kid's serving blooming onions over at Outback Steakhouse. He's not even a full-time fighter. You're coming off a split decision over that guy, and you're trying to act like you call the shots, and I'll do as I'm told. No, kid, you'll do as you're told. You'll do as you're told, and you'll go sit there in the corner because you're Conor McGregor.
Again, just a classic Colby, childish insult. That's fine. I don't care. He wants to talk about Ian Garry's wife and shit. Cool. I don't give a fuck. It's funny to joke about. It's funny to make fun of. But he really doesn't have much in terms of why he's not fighting him. The massive disparity of 3 ranking spots is not massive. Also, Colby, you're coming off a loss. Literally everyone coming off a loss, unless they've just got majorly preferable treatment, has to fight down. You've lost every time you fought above you in the rankings. The last time you won was when you fought Masvidal, who I'm pretty sure was ranked number 7 at the time, same as Ian Garry is now. So yeah, and that was a bigger drop down than this. You just did that because that was a big money fight. But who's to say? Obviously, him and Ian Garry wouldn't be able to main event a pay-per-view, but that is an easy 5-round co-main event on a pay-per-view. They wouldn't do it as a fight night main event, but that's an easy arena sellout fight night main event. It's a massive fight to add that probably adds 50, 100k buys to a pay-per-view and would draw a lot of interest in the build-up. But no, doesn't want to fight him because he was coming off a split decision to Jeff Neal. I gave Ian Garry that fight. Split decision, yeah, well, you're coming off a loss, little bro. So, also, I think if they fought right now, Jeff Neal beats Colby Covington. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I don't know why he doesn't want to fight Ian Garry. And again, we're going to get into the other call-outs, but I feel like Ian is one of his easiest fights in the top 10. Not to say he wins, but I actually put up a poll on my channel not too long ago, and people are still favoring Ian Garry in that matchup, but it's a lot closer of a margin for the vote than when I put up the poll for Belal and then also Oliveira. So I don't know why he's chasing these other fights. And it's not even because he thinks because Ian Garry's he thinks Garry's more difficult or something. I don't know why. I think it's because he doesn't want to talk all this shit and then lose again like he did against Leon, and then he's got nothing to stand on. But yeah, he's basically trying to weasel his way out of it and say, this guy's coming off loss, you don't get to call the shots. Yeah, he's not calling the shots, but you don't get to call the shots either. Every single fucking fan wants to see that fight. There's no one being yeah, I actually want Colby vs. Belal. No one's saying that. Everyone wants this fight. You've been chatting shit, and fair enough, but now back it up and fight the guy. So I don't know why he's trying to duck out of this. But yeah, let's move on to something else.
See that, no one, the thing is no one cares about the kid. He's irrelevant. He doesn't have any high profile wins, guys. Like, he does nothing for my career. Why would I fight a guy like this? I go out there and beat this guy, everybody's just gonna be like, oh, he's a freaking nobody. There's local jobbers on the independent circuit that are undefeated, so, oh, big deal, you took his he hasn't beat anybody, he's a nobody. So it's just the fight does nothing for my career. I can fight anybody. I'm gonna get a big paycheck either way, guys. So it doesn't matter if I fight this schmuck or some other schmuck, but either way, I preferably like to go forward. I want to be back in the title picture. I feel like I'm the best welterweight on earth right now. I don't think there's a man that can stop me. So whatever it takes to get back to the title, that's what I'm willing to do. And I want to do the biggest and best business for the company. No one pays attention to this kid. The only time he even whispers of any type of a little bit relevancy is when he attaches himself to my name. Other than that, those are birds farts that he's putting out there.
Again, does this not seem like he's trying to weasel his way out of it and be like, this guy doesn't do anything for me. If I beat him, everyone's just going to say, oh, no one cares, he's just a bum. No, everyone wants to see this fight. If you put up a poll right now and said, who do you want to see Colby fight next? Guarantee you 90+% is going to be saying Ian Garry. We want the build-up. We want the trash talk. We want to see if you can back up your words or if you can take his O. And it's not even about taking his O. It's about beating the guy that you've talked a bunch of shit about. What's the point in talking shit to someone in the same division as you if you don't want to back it up and fight them? It's exactly the same, well, not exactly the same, but it's exactly why he wasn't trying to talk that much shit about Shavkat, because he doesn't want to fight him. At least with Garry, he seems like he wants to fight him. He'd spent so much time talking shit about him at UFC 296, spent the whole time talking shit about Garry, even post-fight saying, this guy's a nobody, he pulled out with the sniffles. All fair points, but now, back it up. You made your little dumb stipulations. We know they're not going to happen, so just accept the fight. If they haven't offered it to you, pursue the fight. Call up the UFC and say, I'm going to be good to go July. Put us on the Manchester card as the co-main or the feature fight under Leon vs. Belal, and the winner gets a title shot. Just do that, and even if it doesn't end up happening, set that up and put yourself in a good position. You call your shots, but you don't get to call the overall shots. You can say, I want to fight this guy, but you can't be like, no, I don't want to fight him. You can call for someone who you do want to fight that makes sense, but you can't be like, no, I don't want to fight this guy. He does nothing for me, and then just not give any valid reasons, because it does do a lot for you. There's 3 spots behind you. You're meant to fight down in the rankings if you're coming off a loss, which he is. And so, yeah, there's no excuse for him to not take the fight. It's Ian Garry's coming off wins, hasn't lost in the UFC. Colby's coming off a loss. That's what happens. Guy coming off wins fights up, guy coming off losses fights down. It's really easy. This guy's turning into the fucking Cyril Gane of welterweight right now. Being, no, this is not good matchup for me. I must sit out, fight number 1 contender. I need to get to the title shot. He's doing the Cyril Gane classic and saying, I don't want to fight down in the rankings. It doesn't make sense. It's it does, because that's what you're meant to do. Let's move on, though, to another clip.
So, I have nothing to prove against this kid, and the fans.
Yes, you do.
Fans know that he's a nobody, he didn't show he was serious about business, guys. Let's be honest, guys. Last time he was supposed to be on a stage with me in December, he didn't show up because of the sniffles. He pulls out on Thursday because of the sniffles. He wasn't even fighting me, but he knew he was going to get on a stage with Colby Chaos Covington, and I was going to have a live mic in hand. So that's what really scared him. Let's be honest, guys. Who shows up to fights 100% anymore? Nobody does. It never happens. I was sick as a dog.
Just chucking in a little bit of cope there for the fight too. So you hurt your foot, you were sick. Anything else, mate? Let's move on though.
I signed a contract with the UFC. When I sign a contract, I'm serious about business. I'm showing up no matter what. When I put my pen to the paper with UFC, I don't care what's going on. I can have a broken bone, can be sick, doesn't matter. I'm showing up because I'm doing good business for the company. He pulled out because of the sniffles, guys. So let's be honest. If I'm going to fight a guy like this and I'm going to go through a whole training camp and I'm going to spend all this money to bring in training partners, my coaches are going to give me all the time. What if he does the same thing again and pulls out? Then my coaches don't get paid. Then I can't make money. Now I've just wasted a whole training camp. He's not serious about business. All he had to do was turn on the comments, show he was serious about business and do these stipulations, but he's not. So, the ship sailed and I'll fight whoever I want to fight when I want to fight. I don't need to fight on anybody's card. I had my main event pay-per-views. I don't need anybody. I'm already a superstar. I have the biggest, most famous person alive and the most famous
most famous person alive. Shut the fuck up, you fucking tart.
I'm on my time and I'm gonna come back healthy 100%. And we'll see where the business is at in the next month or two, and who's the biggest and best fight I can get for the company.
Again, it's just blatant ducking in my opinion. It's like, we'll see what happens. We'll see who's the best fight. This sounds like Dana when he gets asked about, like, is Jones going to fight Aspen or something. He's like, nah, Stipe's the fight, man. Like, he's just going, nah, no Garry, don't want to fight him. We'll see what the biggest fight is when we come back. Talking all this stuff about, I make massive paychecks regardless of who I fight. So then why would you not want to fight the guy that brings in the most draw? Like, why do you not want to fight the guy that brings in the most interest? But whatever, again, he's talking about, I headline my own cards. Yeah, when you're challenging for belts and losing. But apart from that, I don't know, it just seems like ducking to me, to be honest. Let's move on though.
Who do you think makes sense then? Like next fight wise, is there anybody that you've sort of got your eyes on? You mentioned Belal Muhammad recently. Is that like a possibility?
So now they're asking about Belal, the guy who's going to fight Leon for the belt probably next in Manchester. That's the fight that does make sense. Even though we all hate Belal, we can agree he's 10 times more deserving for a title shot than Colby was when he got his. He's coming off like a fucking major win streak. But yeah, he's talking about Colby mentioned Belal. So let's hear what Colby has to say about fighting a guy up ahead of him in the rankings despite coming off a loss.
Yeah, I would like Belal. He's talked a lot of smack. I want that racist to catch a fade. He's remember the racist. He's out there, saying that I only got my title shot because of white privilege. Oh, Belal Muhammad, remember the racist. Now he's squatting on his ranking, guys. He should have to come out and fight. I think we should fight. I think that's the fight that should be next. He doesn't deserve a title fight, guys. How long has he sat out? He sat out for over a year. He's squatting on his ranking. That's not right, guys. He's squatting. He doesn't deserve it. What does he deserve? What has he done lately? When was his last fight?
Again, I think someone forgot to tell him that he got a title shot coming off one win and sitting out for over a year and a half. As you can see from the record before, March 2021 gets his title shot. No, March 2022, gets his title shot in December 2023. So yeah, over a year and a half layoff. Belal's been out for about a year to date. But again, that's only because you skipped the line and got the title shot. Obviously, he took that short notice fight against Burns. Can't believe I'm sticking up for Belal and crediting his accomplishments. But yeah, he took the short notice fight against Burns after he probably already, arguably deserved it. But he made sure, solidified it, beat Burns. Yeah, Burns was on one arm, not an impressive win. But just name-wise, he's beat 4 or 5 guys in the top 15. That's 4 or 5 more than you because you've beat none. So yeah, he's squatting, you guys. Even when he said it, it's sounded like he doesn't even believe it. He's just trying to come up with a reason why him versus Belal makes sense because he thinks he can beat Belal. He thinks it's an easier fight, or maybe he just thinks there's less risk. I really don't know because I think Belal's a harder fight for him than Garry. I'd pick Belal to beat Garry, but maybe he just would feel more embarrassed for losing to Garry. It really doesn't make sense because Garry's the bigger fight. Garry's, in my opinion, the easier fight. The only reason is maybe the rankings. But I don't think it matters because I think you fight Belal and you win, you probably get an undeserved title shot. If you fight Ian Garry and win, you probably get an undeserved title shot. You're one win away just because you are a master at getting undeserved title shots. So yeah, I don't know why he's talking like this. I don't know, even he just seems like he's squatting you guys. Bro, you fucking sat out for a year and a half. Anyway, let's talk about something else.
What does a fight between you and Belal look like? What do you think? How do you see you guys matching up?
Yeah, I see myself KOing him.
Sorry, bro, that just made me laugh. It made me giggle a little bit. That was funny. Continue, though, Colby Covington. Please explain why you would KO Belal Muhammad with your, 2 career KOs. Funny guy, Colby. Give him credit. He's got some good humor. What else you got to say?
I see myself KOing him. It's an easy fight. He can't strike with me. And I'll show the world that he's just one-dimensional. He's not going to out-wrestle me. He won't take me down one time. If he tries to take me down, he'll submit it so fast. His takedowns are so average at best. And his striking is it's so bad. I mean, you couldn't put away a one-arm Gilbert Burns. Come on, dude. The guy was on one shoulder, he had one arm. You couldn't put that guy away. That's pretty sad and pathetic. So I think I KO the guy. I think that it's a pretty easy fight. So. If the UFC wants to give me that easy fight, that's the fight I want. He's talked a lot of stuff. He said some serious things out there, made some serious allegations. They're racist, and cancel culture these days. He needs to get canceled. So, I'd love to catch up with Belal one of these days and hold him accountable for all those words.
Damn, I never gave Colby credit till now. I actually didn't, I never understood the humor. Everyone said, he's just you just don't get the jokes. He's actually a really funny guy, and I get it now. He's a very funny dude. That was a very amusing segment. Thank you, Colby, for giving me a good laugh. But let's hear something else after that travesty. He's going to KO Belal. But Belal might have pillow hands, but at least he's standing TKO'd Sean Brady. Can we get a check of the last time you finished someone on the feet, bro? I'd like to get that check done because I'm pretty sure it hasn't happened. Let's move on, though, to something else.
I'd fight him anytime, anywhere, any place. I'd fight him right now in my backyard, but, he's not a real fighter like that. He's a little bitch, he's a little racist. So whenever, I'm not going to wait. If he fights in July and that happens, I'm not going to wait till next year to fight him. I'm definitely fighting this fall, at end of summer, early fall, that's the plan. So whoever's available at that time, that's the biggest fight, then that's who we're going to go ahead with. But it doesn't matter who I fight, guys. Like I said, it could be someone above me. It could be someone below me. It could be someone, no one's ever heard of. It could be someone off the prelims. I'm going to get paid a good paycheck regardless. So, we'll see what lines up. And you know how things are in this business. Things change like day to day and week to week. So, anything can happen, like Conor might not show up in June, and then they might need my services and I might have to come out here and fight, not at 100%. So
interesting. So he's willing to be the backup fighter. Keyword there. He's willing to be a backup fighter. That's what he just said. But if I need to step in, I will. For fucking Chandler Conor, but Ian Garry saying that they should fight on the Conor card. It's like, nah, I don't make anyone's card. I'm my own card. So yeah, Colby's just being a little bit retarded. But what else does he have to say?
Like, what have the UFC been saying? Have they thrown any names your way? Have they, told you when you're talking about like the fall return? Have they given you any ideas of like what they'd be, how they'd visualize your return?
So I promise I'll stop with these at some point. It's just too funny. But let's hear what he has to say in response to have the UFC offered you something, or do you have any idea when they want you to return? Let's hear what he has to say.
And Hunter, they've been very gracious with me. They let me get healthy. They don't want to rush me out there at anything less than 100% because we want to give the business and the company and the fans the biggest and best show possible. So we can only do that when I'm 100%. So, we're just working through this injury. And they said, just like they told me a million times that, you've done such good business for this company, you get to call the shots. So I'll call the shots of who I want to fight, when I want to fight. And, we'll make the biggest and best fight happen. I want legacy fights. I think a guy like Charles Oliveira makes sense.
Okay, so we've now gone from Belal to Oliveira. Now, fair play, I'm not going to be like one of those people that discredits beating people from a lower weight class, because I do think lightweights are better than welterweights. We saw Gilbert Burns not be able to cut it at lightweight, goes up, he's a top 5 welterweight. So calling out Oliveira, look, I don't hate the premise of like fighting Oliveira. That'd be a cool fight, and I think he would lose. I think he would get smoked by Oliveira. But we're going to listen to how he thinks the fight with him and Oliveira would go in a second, just if you want to be even more amused than with his fantasy of KO and Belal. At least Belal's fantasy of him winning the belt was by decision. At least he's realistic. Come on, Colby, you ain't finishing nobody. But he wants to fight Oliveira, so very interesting. He's pivoted from Garry, and now he wants to fight Oliveira. Weird, because Oliveira's just a better fighter than Ian Garry, in my opinion. But I don't know. We'll see what he has to say about that.
I want legacy fights. I think a guy like Charles Oliveira makes sense. He was out there saying the other day that he wants to come up to welterweight. So I'm the king of fucking Brazil, man. Everybody knows I run that fucking country. So all the women, love me. All the men in Brazil want to be like me. So Charles Oliveira, you want this fight? You want to really come up to welterweight? You want big fights? Let's see if you're about it, or if you just talk, or you want to come up here and walk the walk. Let's see.
How's Oliveira fight if it does happen?
Yeah, a bigger name, a guy that's a former champion, someone that's actually done something in this business, someone that's actually relevant, and, the fight draws, it makes sense, and there's a lot of angles in that fight. Is he going to defend his country, or is he going to go into retirement and just always know that Colby Covington is the owner of Brazil? And, America's champion, Donald Trump's favorite fighter, does whatever the fuck he wants in Brazil. And there's nothing he can do about it. Very comparable in size, but skill, no. That's where we're not comparable. That's where I just beat him everywhere. I'm a better jiu-jitsu artist than him. I'm a better striker. I'm just a better all-around mixed martial artist. So, that's why I just don't think he actually comes up and follows through with his word. I think he's all talk, and he's not really going to do it. So, I match up well with him, and I'd love to entertain that fight. That's what I want. That's what I love, fighting former champions. That's all I've done the last like 7 or 8 years. So that's all I want to keep doing, and I want to leave my legacy in this company.
Now, that's actually not a bad case in terms of like, yeah, legacy fight, but you're not a former champion, little bro. Your little fucking interim belt doesn't mean shit. So you're not like on the same level of all-time status. You're like you're not even the Poirier of welterweight, like the guy, like Poirier's done way more than you, so you're not even the Poirier of welterweight. But yeah, Oliveira, look, I wouldn't even hate that fight because I do think he'd get smoked, but it just seems kind of weird to be calling out a guy in a division below you rather than a guy who's got steam behind him, who's you've got a heated rivalry with, instead of Oliveira, who you don't, and you'd just be trying to manufacture beef, and just screaming at him like a tard, I'm the king of Brazil, I'm the king of Brazil, while Oliveira's just like, tudo bem, Brazil, and he's just speaking his Portuguese. So like, there would just be dumb build-up, but this would actually be a good build-up with Garry, so fight him instead. And yeah, I don't know why he's acting like he's like on the Legends tour or something. Like, okay, if you want to get back to a title shot, because he said he wants to get back to a title shot and he thinks he can beat Leon and stuff, I don't think Oliveira's the fight to get back you a title shot. Like, he could, but I think you would need Oliveira and at least 1 or 2 more. But if you beat Ian Garry, and did it in a convincing way and made a big statement, you could be like arguably 1 away from a title shot. So yeah, I think Ian Garry is the fight to make very clearly, but yeah, we're going to look at what else he has to say.
Going back in the interview a little bit, you mentioned you'd be open to being the backup for Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Is that right?
No. I didn't mention I'd be the backup. I'm not a backup fighter anymore, but I mentioned if someone got hurt and they needed someone to save the day, they know who to call. I'm coming out here fighting at 60%.
I ain't gonna nitpick this too much, but literally before he's like, Dana and the UFC and everyone else, we all know it's important that I come out at 100% and give the fans the best show, and now he's saying it will be fine to fight at 60% and saying that it's not the backup fighter to be the guy that gets called up on short notice to take the fight. So yeah, that's what a backup fighter is, but whatever. Let's move on.
What time frame are we talking here? What kind of time frame would be optimal?
Shit, they call me the day before weigh-ins, and I'm showing up. That's the type of fighter I am, man. I love this company.
Okay, so you've just said you're willing to be a backup. Whatever, let's move on.
You mentioned you're not a backup fighter anymore. You wouldn't want to do Manchester, right? Like to be the backup for like Colby, Belal, and Leon, if that happens in Manchester.
If the UFC really needed me,
there he is.
But you know what? No, I wouldn't. It's not worth my time. Like, those guys are both irrelevant. No one even talks about Leon. The guys, we haven't heard any words from him. He hasn't said anything. Like, out here and accounting for a shitty performance, fighting a guy on one leg his last fight, and he barely wins a shitty, ugly decision. So, like the guys, literally, there's more fucking charisma in my wet mop in the corner of my house than there is with Leon Edwards Scissorhands. So,
literally a 49-46 on all cards, where the only moment you had was like 3 minutes to the end of the fight because he followed you to the ground and took you down. He had a higher takedown accuracy than you in the fight, landed more significant strikes. So yeah, I like, it wasn't the most entertaining performance, but that's because you were fucking walking away like a tard, looking like a fucking person trying to take care of their nail polish, walking with their handbag around their arm or some shit. Like, that's the photo that got edited of you in that fight, of you looking like you were trying to pose for like a modeling magazine or some bullshit. So yeah, you did fucking shit. So don't be acting like, oh, I broke my foot in the first 30 seconds because I kicked him in the knee. Like, fuck off. Anyway, what else? Alright, so now we're going back to his most recent interview with Submission Radio before this one, where this was after the stipulations video came out. Basically, the 3 reasons why I don't want to take this fight. That's each one. It's like this, and this. Each reason is one extra thing you're not going to do to fight me, because I don't want to fight you. So I'm going to give you 3 things that you're not going to do. So it's easy for me to say that you're not accepting the fight. But yeah, these are the stipulations. Obviously, if you forget, and this is him just acting like a doof, putting on his little fucking voice and his exaggerated accent, just sounding like a tard.
Guys, I told the world today on social media he has 3 stipulations if he wants this fight. First one is he needs to turn his comments on social media, on Instagram. Him and his wife turn off their comments. They're all up in their feelings. If you can't take words, you definitely can't get locked in a UFC octagon with Colby Chaos Covington. So that's the first stipulation. They both have to turn on their comments before the fight. Second stipulation, since we know that Ian Garry doesn't wear the pants in that relationship, Layla needs to get on her knees and hands and beg for it. I want to hear her best explanation of why that I should come out and fight him. Because what does it do for me? Why should I go back in the rankings? This is, he's a bum. Like, I don't need time. He can sit, her husband can sit in the corner and watch while she does this, just like they do in the bedroom every night. So, that second stipulation, Layla needs to get on her hands and knees and beg for why this fight happens. And then third stipulation, boys, and this is a foregone conclusion. When I whip the shit out of this little fucking goofball, fucking Irish ghost looking motherfucker, he has to let his wife star on my shoulder in the next America's Pick of the Week video. So, the fans know something's been missing in my latest My Bookie commercials, and I'm saving it for a special someone. Layla, she wants to be famous. Here's your 15 seconds of fame, sweetie.
We saw, man.
I don't know. Just to me, that's fucking cringe. I hate the voice because it's exaggerated. You've heard this guy talk on like other podcasts or in other interviews where he like talks normally, and then on this one he makes his voice high pitch and goes, "Hey, you stand on my arm, sweetie, and you can do my mybookie.ag promo." Like, shut up, you sound retarded. But also, if he's saying, because in this he's like, and it's not an if, it's when I dominate Ian Garry, Layla can come stand under my arm. Firstly, it just kind of seems like he's got a crush on Layla. But also, again, not defending Ian Garry's relationship choices, they're weird, but still, it does seem like Colby's just a little bit obsessed with Layla, talks about her a lot. But he seems extremely confident he would smoke Ian Garry. So why do you not want to take that fight? Why do you not want to talk all this shit and then back it up and humiliate him and all the fans will be around you if you do that? I don't understand why you don't want to do that if you're so confident in the outcome of that fight. But whatever, because it's not about the stipulations, because you know that he's not going to do them. So you didn't really make that going like, unless you did and you're just genuinely stupid, you didn't make those actually thinking like, yeah, he's going to do these or he's not going to do this, so therefore I'm not accepting the fight. Like, you did that as like a funny publicity stunt, and you knew that he wasn't going to do it. So you're basically just saying you don't want to fight him, which I don't get, but whatever.
Stipulations, they need to show me that they're serious about doing business because, I do big business. I always show. I never pull out a fight. I go into fights with broken bones, sicknesses, this and that. I always show up and do my job because I love this company. I love the UFC. They've changed my life 10 times over. So, I'm thankful to be living this American dream provided by the UFC. So I'm going to do the biggest and best business for them. It doesn't matter who I fight. I can fight anybody and I'll fight them all. It doesn't matter. I'm the best in the fucking world at welterweight. And I know that deep down inside. My last fight wasn't a reflection of who I am just because I had a break in my foot in 3 different spots within the first 30 seconds of the fight. That doesn't dictate who Colby Chaos Covington is. I fought every UFC champion the last decade straight. So, my greatness is unparalleled. I'm leaving a legacy that it doesn't matter. I'm going to clear out this division. They'll know who the best welterweight of all time was. So, it doesn't matter if I fight him. So if he wants to fight, he's got to come through with his 3 stipulations.
Just kind of
Again, more cringe. It's almost like he's got his little script. It's like he's got his like auto play lines in his head. Like, I do the biggest and best in business for the UFC, or I'm happy to be living this American dream, or all this shit. It's just weird. I don't know. It's like he's autoplay. The amount of times I've heard him say those lines, it's retarded. Same with when he talks about Trump and shit. Got the most famous man in my corner, the President Trump's favorite fighter, Donald Trump's favorite fighter. Like, he's got the same fucking lines on repeat in his, and even like some of the jokes, like the bus boy, or he's serving blooming onions or something. Like, he just repeats the same shit. It's just dumb. But again, stipulations not gonna fucking happen. Don't be acting like you're. Again, it's not fucking boxing. It's like, you're not making this private contract. Like, you're the one. If the UFC just hasn't offered you the fight, then I won't be as mad. But still, you should be like, you should be calling him out more. You should be actually going, all right, Ian, I know you weren't going to do the stipulations. You can still insult him. You can still be like, yeah, you're a coward. You didn't want to turn your comments on, but I'll still accept the fight with you and I'll whoop your ass. Just say that. Even if the UFC literally says, no, we don't want to book that fight, then okay, fair enough. He can't do much about that. But he's now actively backing away and doing a 180 on his original position, which is like, I want this fight. So it's just weird. But there's more stuff to go through.
How do you see the fight between you and Ian going? How do you see you guys matching up? And what kind of finish do you sort of envision if you guys do get into that octagon?
Yeah, he won't make it to the championship rounds. He won't make it past round 3. You guys saw what happened. He was fighting a busboy, a part-time fighter that serves blooming onions for a living. And now you want to come to America's champion, to the King of Miami, to Donald Trump's favorite fighter? Come on, he has no chance. I've beaten every champion. I've fought in all the top champions the last decade. I've been at the top of this division. Everybody knows my greatness and my legacy, and I'm still in my prime right now. So it doesn't matter who's next. It can be Ian or it could be the next guy, but I'm getting back to that title. And I'm getting that belt back. That's my belt. I know that I'm the best in the world, and my last fight isn't who I am. And everybody knows that. They could see in the fight that I was obviously injured and hurt and not fighting how I normally fight. So I just see the fight being an easy fight. He split decision. He barely got through with the busboy. What's he gonna do with America's champ? He's gonna get smashed. He's gonna get MAGA bombs on top of the head. We're gonna make America great again. And Donald Trump's getting back elected in office in November.
Again, it's just more cringe, more autoplay Donald Trump lines. They didn't ask you about Donald Trump, my guy. Why are you bringing that up respectfully? Like, you can talk about Ian Garry. Like, they've had to bring that up. He's auto plays his busboy line, auto plays the Bloomin' Onions line. Like, it just gets cringe. And also, if you're so confident that you smoke him and that he doesn't make it out the third round, accept the fight. Why do you not want to humiliate the fuck out of him? It would be awesome for people that hate Ian Garry, and you would get so much fan support. I would still dislike you, but I would respect it at least, and I'd be like, damn, fucking hell. Smoked Ian Garry, that's a good win. Because Ian Garry is, even though he's a bit of a clown and he's vegan and he's soy, he's still a very good fighter. Like, he might not be fun to watch. He might be just like the no power, no finishing ability of Conor McGregor version. But he's still a good fighter and no one's beaten him yet. The Jeff Neal fight was close-ish, but that's a lot due to Jeff Neal was backing up a lot too. Similar to Leon and you, Colby. So yeah, if you're so confident you smoke this guy and dominate him, why do you not want that chance now? Where's that gone? Like, where's he gone now? Yeah, exactly, she's jocks, became fat and rolled off into the sun. Fuck all he's done in the sport. But yeah, why do you not want to fight him? It's weird. Anyway.
On my face. So that's compound number 3. I'm on 1 foot from second 1 to minute 25. So, everybody knows it doesn't matter who it is, dude. I'm coming out, I'm defending titles of the most elusive and prestigious titles in the sport today. Donald Trump's favorite fighter. He'll be front row, the most famous person in the world. Doesn't matter who I fight. Most famous person in the world. People's champ, King of Miami, America's champ. I'm defending our freedoms and liberties here in America. Bring them on. Bring anybody this summer.
So you're saying
we're going to move on to another podcast. I don't know who these guys are, but they're like right-wing podcast, I assume, typical. Like, I think one of them's like an NFL player, something like that. But just listen to the change in his voice. I just want to, there's not too many like notable things to go through, but there's just a change in his voice. I wanted to point this out, and some of the stuff he said was kind of dumb. So yeah, let's listen to this.
When you're authentic and you're not afraid to just say how you feel, then you don't care what people think. You don't care who judges you. So, I just come with facts, and I just say things that are out there that people already know about.
Yeah.
Flashback to when this guy was doing an interview whinging about how he was going to get cut by the UFC, so he had to put on a persona to make himself interesting because his fucking boring decisions weren't good enough to get anyone interested. Just flashback to that, and yeah, cut to the when you're authentic, you don't care about what people say. Yeah, real authentic, Colby. Anyway, what else did he have to say? I think there's something about Ian Garry in here too.
Yeah.
We all know that he's a cuck, but now we know he's a liar because UFC, Hunter, Dana, they haven't talked to me about this fight. This fight has not been presented. He's just lying. He's just trying to get clickbait and get people to talk about him. Like, I don't know. I gave him stipulations. I said, hey, if you want to fight me and you're serious about business, just show me you're serious. Because when I show up, I want to make money. And I'm trying to do good business. We already saw at our last press conference. He didn't even show up because he knew I was going to have a live mic. So he's already scared to show up to a press conference where he's not fighting me. What's going to happen when he's at a press conference and he has to fight me? He's probably not going to show up. So I gave him stipulations. If you want to fight me and you want to show you're serious about business, turn on your comments. Could you imagine Max turning off your comments and not letting?
Yeah, we all agree that Ian having his comments turned off is a pussy move, but still, the stipulation thing is retarded, and the more you talk about it, the more I'm starting to believe you actually did that deliberately and it's not just a joke, and you genuinely are like trying to make him do this, and if not, you're not going to do it. Because if that's the case, you're fully ducking and you're just trying to not fight him. If you're just doing it for fun and just having a laugh, it's whatever. But if you're genuinely like, I'm not fighting this guy unless he does these, then it's just ducking. But whatever. Like, again, I forget if Ian Garry actually said the fight was presented. If it was, I do think the fight, maybe it was not like offered a contract or anything, but I do think the UFC probably was like, yo, Colby, if you're not injured, if you're not banged up and you're ready to go, we'd love you to fight Ian Garry on the Conor Chandler card. Not guarantee, but I'm like very sure that that's probably something that got explored or like brought up in some aspect. Maybe not even pen put to paper or offered or like a contract put in front of you, but like that was probably a text or call that was made saying, yo, Colby, if you're fit, if you're ready to go, you versus Ian Garry on the Conor card would be awesome. Like, I swear that's got to be something that has happened. If not, then it's almost the UFC's fault, because why would they not be trying to book that? But whatever.
First one, you got to turn the comments on. Yeah. The second one, which shouldn't be hard, just have his wife get on her knees and beg for the fight, because she's always out there doing it, non-soliciting. She loves to get out there and do those things. So, and then number 3, after I beat him, his girl has to star in my next bet with the best promo. Yeah. It's not too much. 3 stipulations.
3. It's only 3.
It's only 3. I just want to see he's serious about business. If he wants this fight,
I am going to keep talking about the stipulations. It's dumb, but I swear these guys on the podcast are fucking glazing him beyond belief. Anytime he speaks, they're just like, they're just giggling and like going, yeah. Like, fucking tards, bro. It's so annoying to listen to. Like, he'll just say something and they'll just be like, bro, zip it up when you're done. Like, he's not letting you hit. Maybe he is, I don't know. Maybe John Jones converted him, but like, fucking hell. Like, these guys on the podcast, same with Submission Radio. I like Submission Radio interview guys. Like, they're good. But with Colby, they just glaze him. Like, he'll just say something and he'll be like, yeah. and they won't even question anything. It's like, oh, fucking hell, it's painful to listen to. But what else we got?
It's only 3. I just want to see he's serious about business. If he wants this fight, like, why do I have to go back in the rankings to fight him? He does nothing for me. I have a great great contract in the UFC. I'm going to get paid good no matter who I fight. So I don't really need to fight him. I'd rather fight someone ahead of me and get back to the title fight. I want Leon. That's who I want. I want to show the world that I'm healthy and I can beat anybody in the world. And I am the best welterweight on earth right now. So, if he wants to show he's serious at business and he really wants this fight, just agree to the 3 stipulations. Turn on the comments, cuck. The special. I don't see anything special.
And is anyone in the UFC really afraid to fight anybody? Do you know anyone in the UFC that is like kind of a scaredy?
Who's ducking?
Yeah, ducking.
You can call him.
Not really, because I don't have any friends in the UFC besides maybe like, Sean O'Malley's cool. I respect that kid a lot, but there's definitely a lot of fighters that are scared and they duck fights. And if Dana calls them with a certain fight, they're going to turn down the fight. But if you got into this business and you knew you're going to be fighting other people, if you're scared to fight someone, you just back at home.
Just go.
Get it.
Don't fight, bro. This ain't the right business for you.
So that's all the major clips I could find from that podcast. Again, just he's saying that he doesn't know too many people duck, and it's fucking you, little bro. It's you and your fucking gay roommate, John Jones. Don't want to know what was going on there in those college days. But yeah, there's one more. This is his interview. This was his first interview after the loss to Leon Edwards, and when the fucking thumbnail of the video was literally Ian Garry next, and that's the first name that he said alongside Wonderboy. So yeah, let's take a look at that and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, it's a lot of fake news out there. There's a lot of big fights though when I come back. You got Cup Boy out there who's talking, the Busboy fight. If he can get through the Busboy and UFC deems that to be the biggest and best business the UFC can do in the welterweight division, then let's do it. The UFC knows what Colby Chaos Covington is about. CCI, Colby Covington Incorporated, has never turned down one fight. I fought in the pound for pound greats, the champions. I've been a champion. I am the champion. I'm the best fighter in welterweight on earth right now. That's just facts. You can have your opinion based decision, but I know what's facts. I've been in there. I felt it, so I know what I'm capable of. And I know I am the best on earth right now. So whatever the UFC deems necessary, there's a lot of options, boy. We got Gilbert coming up, that fat lesbian, just like Connor said. He's coming up in March. If he beats that other kid that he's fighting, whatever the scrub's name is, then that's a possibility. I think Wonderboy guys make the most sense. The ultimate nice guy versus the ultimate bad guy. He's came on this show, Submission Radio, and had a lot of things to say. Oh, Colby's going to get I'll knock out Colby. Oh, all these things. He's number 6 in the world. I'm number 5 in the world right now. That fight makes the most sense. So, let's do karate versus wrestling. Let's get this done. He's had a lot of things to say. So I want to hold his words accountable in the media. Let's see if he's about that. Let's see if he can talk the talk and walk the walk like myself. So there's a lot of fights that are going to present themselves, but that's all up to the UFC. I will not turn down one fight. I'll fight anybody on earth. I'm the best in the world right now. So whoever the UFC deems necessary and decides is the biggest and best business, then we'll...
Again, weird. Right after the fucking loss, and when Ian Garry pulled out and didn't get his fight with Luca, which in hindsight, seeing how Luca did against Buckley, he would have got fucking smoked by Garry. But Colby, again, he was on the Garry... Like, he was on board with that fight. He was saying Garry was saying Wonderboy. Wonderboy's ranked below him. Now Wonderboy's ranked like 4 spots below him, but I guarantee if they offered him that fight, he'd take it because he knows he can arguably win that. I fucking would hope Wonderboy would win. That would be funny. Just he's trying to pick out the easy, like, post-fight. He did the post-fight press conference after he lost straight away, and he goes back there and he's like, yeah, Wonderboy, the pedophile, has been talking a bunch of shit about me. Like, bro, stop trying to like manufacture beef. Wonderboy's a nice dude. He ain't said shit about you. Like, he just said he thought Leon was gonna win, and he was fucking right. So why are you mad? But yeah, again, calling himself the champion, all that, just cope. But again, he was on board with the Garry fight. He wanted to do it after, if he beats the Busboy. Or he was calling out Burns. Again, all these guys ranked below him. Or I think Burns at the time was ranked above him. But again, he doesn't even deserve to be where he is ranked, regardless. So if they just moved Colby down to number 8 behind Garry, then he'd be like, oh, I'll fight Garry, he's ranked above me. But it's just because he thinks that number actually means shit, but it doesn't, because he's coming off a loss. But anyway, a couple more clips.
Other than when he got destroyed by the Wonderboy, so that's why I want to fight Wonderboy, because he's at the top of the division. We're 2 guys that have been the top of the division for the longest, and we need to square off. He's had things to say, but I'm not here to pick and choose fights. I'll let UFC do that. They're the greatest company on earth. They know how to promote fights and what sells and what's the biggest and best business. So I'll let them decide, and I'll come out and do what I do. Defend my honor as being the best welterweight on earth, and most importantly, my greatest honor is Donald Trump's favorite fighter. So.
Yeah, that'll just do it. I'll leave it there, calling out Wonderboy. We've been at the top of the division. That fight needs to happen. He wanted the Ian Garry fight. Now he doesn't. I don't know what's changed. But again, this is like the way to sort out welterweight. You do Jack versus Shovkat, because I know you don't want to fight Shovkat. If you want to fight Shovkat, be my guest. But you do Leon versus Belal for the belt. You do Della versus Shovkat. Usman can either just fuck off from welterweight or maybe fight some other dude. Colby, you fight Ian Garry. Jack Della again fights Shovkat. Burns should fight Buckley. Sean Brady should fight... He could honestly fight Usman. It'd be kind of weird, but you do Wonderboy versus someone. Wonderboy versus Brady would be kind of cancerous, but I wouldn't even mind Wonderboy versus Usman, to be honest, just as a Legends fight. And then you can do like Brady versus someone. You do MVP versus, I was going to say Wonderboy, but I now kind of don't want that fight. So you do like MVP versus someone in Manchester. I forget some of the rankings, but yeah, that's what you do. Anyway, Colby, you're ducking, you're quacking away. This is the little meme that I've recognized with Colby Covington, as you can see on screen. It perfectly describes his career. You know, we've got the Oliveira call out, we've got the Poirier call out in the past. Guy loves calling out lightweights. And yeah, he obviously doesn't want to fight down in division, even though he's coming off a loss. And yeah, we've gone over 40 fucking minutes with this video. That'll do it. If you guys stuck around, put like a duck in the comment a duck emoji if you guys ended up getting to the end of the video, just so it'll help me know how engaging my content is, or if I'm just talking to no one at this point. But yeah, peace out guys, see ya.